Our second speaker is Julie Pittle. Julie is well known for her tireless advocacy on many human rights issues. We welcome Julie today.
I'd like to acknowledge also that I'm standing on the unceded sovereign lands of the Balnarring people, the South East Kulin Nation. I acknowledge that the ongoing impact of colonisation continues to bring harm to them as we speak. During the pandemic, the discomfort of experiencing a curtailing of personal freedom, which I think many of us experienced, caused some citizens to confuse human rights with civil libertarianism. Indigenous cultures remind us that there are no human rights without human responsibilities. Working towards social and climate justice are just two of these responsibilities. It is time for us to return to the work of centring the importance of human rights in policy making and service delivery, and to the work of rebuilding networks and relationships to share the responsibilities that are ours to bear, as was said here tonight. Just as the pandemic struck, we had planned our Mornington Peninsula Human Rights Oration. We were going to have Lee Carney as a speaker speaking about the Bill of Rights, the Federal Charter of Human Rights. Australia is now the only Western democracy without some kind of National Human Rights Act. Ideally, our human rights would be protected in the Constitution, which would require a referendum. However, the Parliament can introduce a Charter of Human Rights at any time, as was done in Victoria. The Human Rights Law Centre is currently writing an Australian Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities that would protect in law all of our fundamental human rights set out in the United Nations Universal Declaration. It would mean that governments must consider people's human rights when creating new laws and policies and when delivering services. It would also mean that people can take real action and seek justice if their rights are violated. Currently, our anti-discrimination legislation is somewhat toothless. Apart from aged care, disability, health and education, a charter could also protect the right to a livable climate, the right to safe drinking water, and the right to housing, issues that we are currently facing today. System change is very slow work, and to remain engaged and motivated, it helps us if we identify achievable gains which can be made working together within and for our communities, as was spoken about. At present, two social issues are very pressing and require our immediate attention as human rights campaigners. So Marg has spoken very eloquently on the Voice to Parliament. I won't mention much more about that, just in relation to the fact that in 2009 we formally endorsed, but not ratified, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Australia has continually failed to meet the standards set out in UNDRIP, and as eloquently outlined in the Uluru Statement and evidenced in the Closing the Gap outcomes, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people still face enormous difficulty in fully realising their human rights. The intervention, the Northern Territory intervention, which has now ended, required a suspension of the Racial Discrimination Act. It's only been suspended 3 times in the history of Australia, every single time in relation to Aboriginal people. So, as Mark said, the Uluru Statement from the Heart provides an opportunity to address this, and where UNDRIP provides the international community with a standard for self-determination, the Uluru Statement provides Australia with a clear, actionable guide, and Marg has presented us with a clear, actionable set of actions, which I will be very happy to be involved in. All right. Also, to note, if anyone is interested, there's a submission open to Parliament at the moment on Australia's human rights frameworks. Anybody can put in a submission. The link to that can be sent to you if you put your name down or your email there, and I'll send you the link. It's open till the 1st of July. As many people who put that forward, that we need a Federal Charter of Human Rights, the more likely it is to actually get up. So the second pressing issue, and this is very topical, is that recently the rights of the LGBTIQ community have come under renewed attack, spearheaded by a loose coalition of freedom movement, sovereign citizens and religious extremists. There's been an organised targeting of LGAs and queer-friendly events, programs and services, including threats of physical violence and harassment that have led to the postponing and cancelling of events. This is causing great distress to the LGBTIQ community, who are already experiencing higher rates of adverse outcomes related to stigma, discrimination, bullying, harassment and violence. It is not widely known there are still exemptions within the Sex Discrimination Act that allow for religious organisations to discriminate on the basis of gender and sexual identity. In addition, there are no robust protections from vilification in anti-discrimination legislation, and there is current debate in Parliament about how to extend these protections by amending current laws. As citizens, we have a key role to play in protecting the right of our fellow citizens to express their gender and sexual identity and have a sense of belonging in their community. Last night, a group of citizens, and this morning, actually at Rosebud Library, a group of us joined together to provide a warm welcome to young people attending the Mornington Peninsula Pride Formal. The organiser of that Pride Formal and her family was threatened with actual physical violence. We cheered and clapped the young attendees as they arrived. I'm going to get emotional, sorry about this. And we were prepared to form a protective barrier between them and the threatened protest of the event. There is a pressing need to actively and effectively counter the homophobic and transphobic misinformation and rhetoric that is being broadcast by bigots through social media and which is threatening the human rights of the queer community. If you would like more information on the issues and links referenced today, or you're interested in meeting monthly to take action on human rights issues, you can provide your email address on a sheet at the info table. We have a Facebook page, Mornington Peninsula Human Rights, where we post regular daily information on human rights issues and campaigns. You can direct message us via the page. I will see you all in this campaign. If you wish to get more information about the Frankston Mornington Peninsula LGBTIQ Collaborative, which is doing some fantastic work at the moment, and the upcoming Pride on the Peninsula organising, please contact me about that. Thank you all for listening and for your commitment to a more progressive and humane society.